Welcome to Epic Quotes, where we explore the stories and lessons from the lives of history's greatest minds. In today's video, we're diving into the life and achievements of one of the most influential figures in science, Sir Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, born on Christmas Day in 1642 in Woolsthorpe, England, is often regarded as one of the most influential figures in the history of science. His birth came at a difficult time, as his father, a prosperous farmer, had died 3 months before he was born. Newton's mother, left to raise him alone, remarried when Newton was 3, and he was sent to live with his grandmother. This early experience of abandonment and solitude shaped much of Newton's character. He grew up as a quiet, introspective child, often preferring to spend his time by himself, experimenting with various mechanical devices and trying to understand how things worked. Little did anyone know that this isolated, curious boy would eventually change the way humanity understood the universe. Newton's journey into the world of academia began when he enrolled at Cambridge University in 1661. At the time, the university was a hotbed of intellectual activity, but Newton, often described as a solitary figure, stood apart from his peers. He did not form close friendships with fellow students, preferring to immerse himself in his studies. Cambridge's curriculum primarily focused on classical philosophy and logic, but Newton's interests gravitated toward mathematics, physics, and astronomy. During this period, he read and absorbed the works of the great thinkers of the time, such as Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, and René Descartes. These works were revolutionary in their own right, but Newton wasn't satisfied with simply accepting their conclusions. He sought to delve deeper, challenging existing ideas and formulating his own groundbreaking theories. In 1665, just 4 years into his studies at Cambridge, England was struck by the Great Plague, causing widespread devastation and the temporary closure of universities. Newton, then in his early 20s, returned to his family home in Woolsthorpe. What might have been seen as a setback turned out to be the most productive period of his life. Newton would later refer to this period as his Annus Mirabilis, or Year of Wonders, during which he made some of his most important discoveries. In this time of solitude, Newton developed the foundations of calculus, a mathematical tool that would later prove essential to many areas of science and engineering. Though the invention of calculus is also credited to the German mathematician Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, Newton's work was done independently, and both men's contributions laid the foundation for modern mathematics. Beyond calculus, Newton also made profound advances in the study of light and optics, working with prisms and discovering that white light is made up of a spectrum of colors. His experiments led to a new understanding of how light behaves, fundamentally altering the study of optics. Yet it was his work on motion and gravity that would make Newton's name immortal in the scientific community. The famous story of the apple falling from a tree is often associated with his insights into gravity, but it is more likely that the apple incident was a catalyst for ideas that Newton had already been contemplating for some time. Newton hypothesized that the same force that causes an apple to fall to the ground also governs the movement of celestial bodies, such as the moon and planets. This insight led to the formulation of his universal law of gravitation, which stated that every particle of matter in the universe attracts every other particle with a force that is proportional to their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. In simpler terms, the gravitational force between two objects becomes stronger as their masses increase and weaker as the distance between them grows. This concept of universal gravity was a revolutionary step in human understanding, as it suggested that the same natural laws applied both on Earth and in the heavens. To accompany this theory, Newton developed his three laws of motion, which describe the relationship between the motion of an object and the forces acting upon it. These laws formed the basis of classical mechanics and were fundamental in understanding everything from the movement of planets to the mechanics of everyday objects. His laws of motion and law of gravitation remain cornerstones of physics and continue to be taught in schools around the world. In 1687, Newton published his seminal work, Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, commonly known as the Principia. In this monumental book, Newton presented not only his laws of motion and universal gravitation, but also demonstrated how they could be used to predict the motions of the planets, the moon, and other celestial bodies. His work provided the mathematical foundation for understanding the natural world in a systematic and predictable way. Newton's laws applied not only to the heavens, but to the entire universe. His ability to use mathematics to explain the natural world set him apart as one of the first modern scientists, ushering in an era of scientific inquiry that relied on observation, experimentation, and mathematical precision. Beyond his work in physics, Newton made important contributions to the study of optics. Through his experiments with light and prisms, Newton demonstrated that white light is composed of a spectrum of colors, which could be separated and recombined. This finding laid the groundwork for the field of modern optics and changed the way we perceive light and color. Newton also invented the reflecting telescope, which used a mirror to gather light, improving upon previous telescopes that used lenses. His innovations in optics would be fundamental to later advances in the study of light and vision. Despite his groundbreaking work, Newton's personality was marked by a certain level of humility and introspection. He was not one for public acclaim or fame, and often preferred working alone in seclusion. Yet, his work was widely recognized, and he became a highly respected figure in the scientific community. Newton's fame also came with some personal challenges. He was known for being fiercely competitive, especially with fellow scientists such as Robert Hooke and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. While these rivalries sometimes overshadowed his relationships with others, they also spurred Newton to refine and develop his theories even further. Perhaps the most enduring lesson from Newton's life is the power of curiosity and perseverance. Despite facing numerous personal and professional challenges, Newton remained dedicated to his work. He persevered through times of great isolation, both physically and emotionally. Yet his relentless curiosity and thirst for knowledge drove him to make discoveries that would change the course of history. He was never satisfied with the status quo. Instead, he questioned, challenged, and sought to understand the very laws of nature. Newton's life also teaches us the value of intellectual humility. Despite his monumental contributions to science, he was aware of the many others who had come before him and acknowledged their influence on his work. One of his most famous quotes, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants," reflects his recognition that knowledge is built upon the work of those who have come before us. Newton understood that the progress of science is not the work of one individual, but the result of the collective effort of humanity over time. His ability to see himself as part of this greater intellectual tradition demonstrates the humility and respect that is vital to the advancement of knowledge. In conclusion, Isaac Newton's life and work represent the very essence of human potential for discovery and innovation. His contributions to mathematics, physics, and optics have had a lasting impact on science and our understanding of the universe. Newton's intellectual curiosity, his commitment to rigor and precision, and his ability to think deeply and critically about the world around him offer valuable lessons for all of us. His legacy is a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of questioning the world, and the necessity of intellectual humility in the pursuit of knowledge. Newton's life reminds us that even in the face of adversity, greatness can be achieved through passion, determination, and an unwavering commitment to the search for truth. His story continues to inspire generations of scientists, thinkers, and dreamers to push the boundaries of what we know and to continue the quest for knowledge that can transform the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of Isaac Newton. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Epic Quotes for more stories of the greatest minds in history. Remember, greatness comes from the pursuit of knowledge, and you have the power to change the world.